Hey everybody, my name is Taylor and I am the Youth Employment Program Coordinator at the Ground Level Youth Center, and I am going to be posting weekly videos that are designed to help improve your employability skills as well as share useful information about the workplace. So this week I'm going to be talking about minimum employment standards, and somewhere in this video I'm going to ask a trivia question, and if you answer that question correctly I will put your name in a draw to win a Tim's card this week. So let's get started. Alrighty, basic rights in the workplace. So you're probably wondering, what are basic rights? Alberta has a legislation called Minimum Employment Standards, and these are the basic rules set out that employers must follow in regards to their employees. This includes things such as minimum wage, overtime pay, vacation pay, termination, etc. Employers must obey these rules as they are the law. And it is very important that as an employee, you know and understand your rights because, for one, you don't want to be taken advantage of in the workplace, and these rules are set out to protect you as an employee. Also, I found out that most people actually don't know this information, so this is just a really good refresher or just good information to have. Just a reminder that you are only covered by minimum employment standards if you are an employee. You are not covered if you are self-employed, if you're a volunteer, or if you do casual work like babysitting, snow shoveling, and lawn mowing. So let's start with age restrictions. If you are 14 or under, you do need a permit in order to work. If you are 12 and under, you need a permit as well, but you are only allowed to work in what the government considers artistic endeavors. So this includes things like acting jobs, voice recording jobs, or live performances. You will also need a parent or guardian permission on top of a permit if you are 12 and under. If you are between ages 13 and 14, you do not need a permit to work in retail, paper delivery, coaching, light janitorial work, or food service, but you do need a permit to work in any other area. You also cannot work between the hours of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. You can't work during school hours, but if you do work after school, you're only allowed to work up to 2 hours. However, you can work up to 8 hours a day on weekends. Next, in age restrictions, if you are 15 or older, you do not need a permit to do any kind of work. You only need permission to work between the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. If you are age 15, you are not allowed to work during school hours, but if you're older, that rule changes. Next, let's talk about hours and breaks. So you can only work up to 12 hours a day unless you've already come to a previous agreement with your employer about your hours. If a shift is changed or added to your schedule, you must be given at least 24 hours notice, and there has to be at least an 8-hour break between those shifts. If you are entitled to a 30-minute break, if your shift is 5 or more hours. So this can be paid or unpaid. That is up to your boss. And if you work 10 or more hours, you'll get 2 30-minute breaks. So basically every 5 hours you work, you get a 30-minute break. Employers also have to pay a 3-hour minimum. So if your shift is only 2 hours, they still have to pay for at least 3. Unless you are 13 or 14 and you're working on a school day, in that case, they don't have to pay the 3 hours because you can legally only work 2 hours on a school day. You are also entitled to at least 1 day off work each week, but as I said before, unless you've come to a previous agreement with your employer about the days that you're working, then that rule may not apply to you. Next, let's talk about earnings and deductions. Employers legally must pay you at least the minimum wage. So in Alberta, if you are 18 or older, the minimum wage is $15 an hour, and if you're under 18, the minimum wage is $13 an hour. This does not include tips or expense money in your wage. Your employer cannot take off any money less than minimum wage if you're earning tips or if you're getting expense money for anything. So my trivia question for today, if you want to win a Tim's card, is which province in Canada has the highest minimum wage? If you want to leave your answer in the comments below, or you can message us. Next, you must be paid at least once a month by your employer, and that paycheck must include a statement that shows the statement period, regular and overtime hours worked, the wage rate, which is the regular wage that you're being paid, such as $15 an hour. Let's say your wage is $15 an hour, and then also the overtime wage that you're being paid. So if you work overtime, you'll likely earn 1.5 times your regular wage. It also must show how much they're actually paying you, and if they took off any money from your paycheck, and an explanation for any money that they did, as well as they need to show if you took any hours off in lieu of overtime work. Employers can only take money from your paycheck if they're legally required. So things that are legally required are income tax, CPP, which is Canadian Pension Plan, which is money that goes into an account so that when you are older and you retire from work, then you'll still be able to collect a paycheck, and also EI premium. So EI is employment insurance. So if you lose your job, you can still collect a paycheck while looking for new work. Your employer must ask your permission or give notice if they're taking money off your paycheck for any other reason. Next, let's talk about vacation and stat holidays. So if you are entitled to 2 weeks vacation time a year after being employed at a place for over a year. So if you've worked there for less than a year, unfortunately, you are not entitled to any vacation time. Employees are also entitled to stat holiday pay if they've worked for the employer for at least 30 workdays in the last year before the holiday. So if the stat holiday falls on a day that you would normally work and you aren't scheduled for that day, then you will still get paid the regular wage for that day. However, if you do work on that day, you'll probably get paid time and a half, or they may pay you the regular wage for the day, but they may give you a paid day off in the future. So the stat holidays that are included in these rules are New Year's Day, Alberta Family Day, Good Friday, Victoria Day, Canada Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, Remembrance Day, and Christmas Day. If you feel that these standards are not being met in your workplace, you should talk to your employer first and let them know that you feel like they aren't being met. However, if you are unable to resolve the issue or you don't feel comfortable approaching your employer in the first place, you can leave an anonymous tip or a complaint on the Alberta Employment Standards website. Just a reminder, these are the general rules for Alberta employers. However, there are some exceptions depending on what type of work you're doing. So you can see the laws in full detail on the Alberta Employment Standards website. So that concludes my information for the week. All of us at the Ground Level Youth Centre will be posting weekly videos for our programs, and we'll also be giving out prizes in every video. So make sure you participate and keep your eyes open on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel so you can learn some new things and win free stuff. Because who doesn't love free stuff? So I'll see you guys next week.